Doing the TEFL course, how's it going? Or TESL course. TEFL is teaching English as a foreign language, but it goes down as TESL as well. Let's just move on. You can review that online yourself. I'm doing a 120 hour course. I would say that it's not really 120 hours. You would be struggling to get through all this and understand it in 120 hours. It's like a crash course. But so far, I've gone through the grammar and language, which is 7 units with 8 exams. I'm now in TEFL methodology. I'm not saying mythology, which is Greek mythology. This is methodology, which is basically how to teach the course. I'm on Unit 2, finished Unit 2 and on just doing the assignment for Unit 2. Before I move on to 3, I'm hoping to have it down to 5 by the end of today. Reality is that just in that section there is 12 different units and multiple tests. There's a quiz as minimum, but for example Unit 12 has 3 review quizzes plus a final review assignment, and then we're on to C, which is 20 hours of videos, then specialist modules, then course feedback and information. So it's quite a big course, and I'll be honest with you, the book work involved, the main book is about 100 pages for the actual teaching, and the grammar is about another 100 pages. So if you don't know what your gerunds are, your nouns, your adverbs, your I'm sorry, tell I'm tired, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Your different structures of language. Did I say gerunds? Things like your gerunds, you need to know. You need to know when is something an adverb, adjectives, passive voice, nouns. What else have we got? Past simple, past tenses, etc., etc. There's a lot to absorb, especially if you didn't do it at school, which is why I know some people may think, teaching English is an easy thing. It depends on how dedicated you are in getting through this course. I've been looking at some of the teaching English stuff on YouTube relating to how people put their courses across, and some of the actual courses have actually been done wrong. They're actual grammatically wrong, which is pretty bad for teaching grammar. But at the same time, there's other stuff that's fantastic, which if you're going to do this course, I would say get your head around what other people are doing as well. Once you finish this course, go back through it all again. This is how I'm doing it, and you may find it works for you. I'm working through the course intensely. I'm taking all the notes, all the video links, etc., and just getting through the course. What I will then do is, once I finish the course, is go all the way back through it again. Going through all the paperwork and going through the structures, then breaking it down into chunks that are easier for me to understand. Spending a bit more time on some things that I do not find easy to get my head around. Because some of this stuff I find difficult because I cannot see what the obsession is in using old text. For example, gerund, I find, is a word that has no connection for the average person these days in the modern language, because obviously it's from Latin. But verbing would be easier for some people to understand, although it would actually be... Would it be correct or not? I mean, that's the thing with the Oxford Dictionary, etc. They've all been altered over time, so I can't see why gerund hasn't budged. But things like that, it's not... it's not going to be a difficult one. It's just going to be a case of just structuring it around until I have a structure that works for me. The teaching exercises, something else I want to talk about is I'm going to set up some YouTube stuff where I do training, teaching people that aren't even there, just to get my head around the class exercises to make it easier for me to teach other people by going through, this is what this is what that is, this is how we're doing this, give it some example, blah, 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 as if it was an actual classroom, and then videoing through it, and then going through the videos to see how I performed in the videos, because all that helps with improving your teaching experience so that hopefully your students grasp what you're trying to teach, also how to make it a bit more interesting, etc. So there's a lot to absorb. I know I mentioned about the TEFL stuff I've seen online, the TEFL stuff, but also looking at some of the stuff in China. I know some people just do this for travel, which is a bit unfair on the students, because you've really got to be on top of it to make it worth your time as well as their time. Because at the end of the day, for me, the importance is the students actually come out with something of value. They've learned something, they've achieved something. It's not about just being able to travel, which is what I think some people forget. And I know some people have actually complained about it, not only on my channel, but looking at some of the other teachers that are in China, for example, they complain about other expats that couldn't care less. And I know somebody that had the same experience in Japan, where some of the people just want to do their own thing, they couldn't care less. That's not what teaching's about. And I know I doing this as a backup reserve thing, but at the same time, if you do it properly. You've got to do it full throttle and actually have a keen interest in it. Otherwise, it's not for you. Yes, you may be able to travel with it, but I can sooner or later somebody's going to get tired of the fact that their kids ain't learning nothing. Anyway, thanks for watching. And I know I've nattered on a bit because I'm tired. It's 2:20 in the morning. All right, thanks for watching.